Greetings, fellow Gothamites. Tiki here.
And Bluedragonfive. Over 10 years ago, as The Dark Knight changed things forever, we lost the actor who made it happen. Heath Ledger delivered the ultimate performance that left us eternally wanting more. While we all thought we saw the last of his betrayal as the Clown Prince of Crime, two men unearthed amazing footage of what he might have done next.
The job falls to us to comb over the files and documented exploits of Patient 4479 in this ultimate tribute to the role of a lifetime. Let's start today's session with a teaser. Dragon, explain this. Splain, Dragon, splain, in the words of Ricky Ricardo.
Okay. So, this is going to be an interesting one. So as we episode 7 of season 2 was the big, I hyped up the whole we're in the end game now with basically the big final 3 episodes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it would be interesting to give you the full breadth of the first time viewership experience with the Joker blogs to basically have you speculate based on this teaser they did for the basically in enacting things for the 10-year anniversary of the Dark of 10. Corey, you gotta remember when the Dark Knight came out, they essentially started in the same year. So roughly, the Joker blogs is kind of synonymous with like the anniversary for the Dark Knight. When that movie happened, they get started both in 08. So I want to go through the it's very brief. The little gleams of footage that we do get is based on what you've seen up to this point. I figured we could speculate on how you think season 3 would end.
So this is basically going to be a game of how wrong is Tiki going to be?
Yes, but there's a twist. I'm not going to give away what the twist is quite yet.
Well, Dragon, I don't want to disappoint you, man, but you're right. This is a very brief trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I only have maybe 2 or 3 talking points when it comes to speculation because really this thing doesn't give you much. So
right. I mean,
I don't know how much we're actually going to get out of me speculating about.
Not specifically just these 3 little snippets of footage that we get, but I just mean period with the direction of the season so far, including these little 3 snippets from those 3 episodes.
Okay, but including those 3 little snippets doesn't really add much. That's what I'm saying.
Trust me. We're gonna start with the breakdown because it's gonna go by really briefly. Then I'm gonna give you some context, and once I give you the context, I think you're gonna understand everything.
Okay, I'm not as confident as you are on that, but all right, let's do it.
Just trust me. All right.
Okay, well, yeah, let's indeed break this down. It is just a trailer. 47 seconds. You know what's interesting is that I don't know if they did this intentionally or not, but it kind of reminds me of the same sort of style that Nolan would use in the teaser trailers for The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, of course, the show is very much kind of founded on the viral marketing campaign to some degree, so
Mm-hmm.
It would track.
Okay, so essentially the trailer starts out 10 years ago. He changed things forever.
Which is nice little nod to the whole, Joker's big line. You change things.
Well, that was the first big line that we heard from Heath Ledger's Joker. Beyond the teaser trailer, we heard starting tonight, people will die. I'm a man of my word. But this was the first real Heath Ledger Joker delivery that we heard in the full trailer was, "You've changed things forever. There's no going back. You see, to them, you're just a freak. Like me." God. Like me. Okay. Oh, God. My friend group got a lot of mileage out of that "like me" thing. Anyways.
Anyway, So we have one of the basically our title image here, as you can probably see. We have this big moment where Joker and Harleen are reunited, and again, almost like kind of a bit of a kind of a Kingpin Daredevil sort of thing for season three. We've kept these two apart for a long part of the season.
Sure, sure.
We've had them together in hallucination, with the whole Valley of Fear, the Valley of Fear thing
Mhm.
from near death experience
I
episode.
really quick. I assume the first shot that we see in this trailer of him just sitting down for the interrogation is from earlier in the series.
Yeah, that's just from the very
That's
beginning.
what I thought.
It's
Okay,
just, yeah, it's
just to
just
be
from when
clear.
they reshot the pilot and they kind of
Right,
dusted it
right.
up with like the new look and everything. So yeah. So again, there's something you can kind of look at her and you can see there's something kind of unhinged about her, and there's kind of a comfort between the two.
She is definitely the kind of like I think is going to be the linchpin as far as my speculation goes. Like I think they're obviously building up some big stuff with her story wise.
Yeah. So let's see. So then we have this really great money shot here of Joker. He's back in the suit. He's back in the suit. Then we have the other shot of him walking down the hallway of Arkham Asylum and kind of like in kind of crisis mode. We have like a really nice set going on there. Doesn't that look good?
No, it absolutely looks like a really, really good set. It looks like something out of like a Halloween Horror Nights maze or something, which is not an insult. That is a compliment. Because Halloween Horror Nights mazes are very, very high budget. Like, yeah, the flashing lights, the industrial vibe.
Yeah. Let's see. So we have like the production values, and let's just say, okay, I will speculate on something there in a moment. There's something that connects to actually the first episode of season two with that image.
Okay.
But we then see the big showdown between Batman and Joker, which that one actually is like a Daredevil Kingpin thing for season three, which these two
For
have not
sure, for
not
sure.
interacted at all this season. We've been building them up, and we've been building that throughout the season. Then we getting each part of their ceremonial garb as is their iconography back. Kind of like putting the crosshairs once again. And I would like to, let's just say, I think it's safe to assume this battle will not be obscured in shadow like the first season.
Right,
I
right.
mean, even in black and white, looks pretty good, doesn't it?
But the black and white does make me wonder, like, is that a stylistic thing for the trailer, or is it like, is there going to be different timelines? Because remember, the Oppenheimer trailer had black and white
Oh yeah.
footage, and at first we weren't entirely sure if that was going to be like part of the movie or not. At
Well,
least I wasn't entirely sure. I don't know about you.
yeah, no, I'm with you. The black and white's I thought it was purely gonna be like an aftermath sort of thing.
Right, right, right.
Kind of
Exactly. Yeah.
ultimately we kind of did.
Yes, but it was like it was weaved throughout the whole movie, though. It was a
The thing it
much
wasn't
bigger
not,
part of
not
the movie.
everything was in black and white like it probably should have been. That was the difference with Oppenheimer, though. Was
No,
that
I don't think everything should have been in black and white.
no, no,
I
no.
just think
I
that.
don't mean no, I don't mean everything. Everything. I mean everything in terms of like the stuff in the aftermath.
Oh,
All,
right, right,
like
right.
all of our aftermath. Like we should have pulled the full Better Call Saul on that one. Our aftermath should have been black
Sure,
and white.
sure.
Our past stuff should have been in glorious filmic color.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, all right. So, I guess I should tell you. I guess I should give you that context
Okay,
now.
tell me what. Oh God.
Okay. So, as you probably guessed, there was a lot of hype for the season two finale. After further evidence, and like the fact the season two was crowdfunded and everything, and the upscaled production values as you kind of gleamed here, and they put out this teaser to coincide with the Dark Knight's 10-year anniversary. Which basically was like, hey, it's the 10-year anniversary. We're gonna like basically end our series out on a high note because we do kind of start. We're very synonymous with like the beginnings of the Dark Knight in which we began. So we're gonna end essentially 10 years later. That's essentially what the plan is. So Tiki, do you remember that scene? Random aside here, but just go with me on it. Do you remember
Okay.
that scene from Toy Story 2 with Woody and the prospector when they're watching Woody's Finest Hour, and he says, "Come on, let's go to the next episode."
Sure.
And the prospector informs him like there is no next episode. It's the cliffhanger. The show got canceled.
Are you telling me that there's no final 3 episodes.
Tiki, I'm telling you, there's no final 3 episodes.
Are you fucking serious?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Does that mean we've already covered the last episode?
Mm-hmm.
What? Oh, you're blowing my mind right now, Dragon.
So Tiki, this is the twist I was referring.
That is a good twist, Dragon. You straight up just pulled a Shyamalan
Are
on
you
me,
ready
man.
to go on an adventure right now, my friend?
Oh God. Oh wow.
So
My mind is racing, honestly.
The whole reason, Tiki, the whole reason we did this.
Okay.
Was a 2-part experience. Part 1, as per the first season, pure amazement and bliss. Part 2, on the other hand, I know we did this in 3 installments because of further evidence, but I'm just saying, ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, 2 seasons. The dark, infamous secret of the Joker blogs.
Okay.
This has been kind of a quest to lift it up, and my hope of hopes is that the show would have gone against the fears that we've all had, and it would have finished by the extended time in which we embarked on this venture, which is why it was delayed for so long, because the hope that the 3 episodes would finally be made.
Well, I mean, we literally had to go through every episode of Batman the
Mm-hmm.
Animated Series to get to this point, so yeah.
Exactly. So there was a built-in kind of time cushion there, but let me give you here's the deal. Okay. So season 1, back when they made it, regularly scheduled, came out, fairly, occasionally had like the big event like the road trip, in which, okay, they kind of waited a while and they combined the episodes in which they were coming out, so they were coming out more frequently versus, let's say, a month-to-month basis, right?
Uh-huh.
So they finished the first season, obviously a lot of love there, and then they decided they're going to do season 2, and they used further evidence for the hype train of season 2. Now, season 2 was announced in that little Christmas video we went over right before this.
Sure.
Again, intentionally, Tiki, to get to this moment, because it's a very key piece of the puzzle, as I alluded to. So season 2 was announced in 2011. So again, Joker Blog starts at the tail end of 2008, and the first season ends essentially in 2011, which is when further evidence starts. Now, they're doing further evidence. They take a break until about... They start further evidence, and they put out 2 in 2011 towards the tail end, because that's roughly where they finished that first season. So March 2012 rolls around. This is when we get like episode 3 of further evidence, and then 4 months later, another episode. Then 5 months later, the next. 2 months after that, we're in 2014. So you're seeing the production cycle here is taking longer and longer, because presumably they are taking that long to make the episodes.
Uh-huh.
As in, they're not exactly having this as fully formed in advance as you might think.
Okay.
So, this is where things get interesting. 2013, again, getting into The Dark Knight Rises, presumably we're having a delay in production here because of all the buzz of the Joker blogs. They were invited into the process. So they were invited to Warner Brothers, and they were given access to the script, which I had mentioned beforehand. Because of the big buzz the Joker blogs got, they were allowed to see the script for Dark Knight Rises, which informed a little bit of like season 2 and further evidence and so on and so forth, and filling the gap between what happens after the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. So that happened. That presumably is why there's also a delay in production as well.
Sure.
So, anyway, so it's 2013. We're in the middle of... We're starting season 2 in May. So then 7 months later, you get 2 episodes in December. Then we get to episode 4 in February of 2014. A year has gone by.
Okay. Oh, Jesus.
Then it's March 5th, and then it's April. And Tiki, in April, we don't get episode 7. The episode we just covered, essentially the last full episode of the Joker blog.
Right.
Until 2017. So that's 3 years. So I'm going to read something to you.
Oh, no. Oh, God. This episode is a fucking roller coaster, man.
Oh, you have no idea. It's about to get...
Okay. Really quick, Richard's Victims is in the comments. He says, Dragon just Nathan Fielder Tiki, which... Richard's Victims, honestly, with how long form it's taken us to get to this point, yeah, you're not wrong. I feel very used. In a good way, though. I'm delighted. This was a very elaborate con you pulled on me, Dragon. But go ahead. Apparently, it gets even spicier.
So the Joker blogs, as you would imagine, Tiki, within all the waiting, there's a lot of clamoring from the fan base, which again you've kind of gotten the secondhand kind of like sampling of what that feels like in the way we've approached this.
Sure, sure.
You're going essentially roughly, week to week, and you're feeling like, oh man, this is.
I mean, we were kind of breaking this up like even longer than week to week because we were doing it like we would. In some cases, usually I think this was like an every 3 weeks kind of thing with us because we'd be doing our priority was always Batcave over this.
Which I signed
This was
off
kind of like
on.
our off thing between Batcave episodes.
Which I in part signed off on to give you the kind of the breadth of waiting space like you would have with the Joker blogs.
Right.
So that's the thing. So amidst all the waiting, and Tiki, you gotta remember, so way back in the first season, you communicate with the creators of the Joker blogs, in the comments and stuff, and they would see those comments, or at least collectively they would see those comments and they would respond to it. Get to season 2 though, because they're busy little beavers cranking them out and preparing them in advance and everything, and kind of upping the game. People are checking the Facebook. Joker blogs had Facebook, and I believe the Joker. Sorry, you can actually still find it. I'm about to read something from it for you.
Oh God.
So Joker blogs has a Facebook, or at least I guess more so had a Facebook. And there would be updates occasionally posted there, but you can imagine a clamoring of fans like saying, hey, when's the next episode going to be? What's taking so long, guys? Et cetera, et cetera. A barrage of legit questions. Not like asking for the moon here, it's asking like, hey, when's the update? The episode's going to come out certain times, and they are not.
It's not even that they need the episodes right away. They would just like an update. Yeah.
That's the thing, is people are more. They're not rushing perfection, but there's an eagerness, of course, as you experience. There's an eagerness like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens next.
Sure.
So you have these Facebook posts that are becoming more and more sparse, and again, as the episodes are becoming more and more sparse and spaced out, because again, as I mentioned, you go from like March of 2014 to April to then 3 years later is your next episode. We go from 2014 to 2017. That's quite the leap for one episode.
Mm-hmm.
So when episode 7 dropped, that was April of 2017. Again, now April's the big day for the Joker blogs because when they started the show, every time they do something in April, that's Heath Ledger's birthday. That is 4479 essentially. That's what that's usually a big number for them. So every year on an annual basis, people who've experienced Joker blogs, they will constantly check that to see, hey, I wonder the logical. So that is for 3 years, Tiki, people checking for the hope of hopes that, okay, it's April, maybe they'll come back.
That's actually really sad when you like lay it out like that.
So that April, after that episode, the same week that came out. So that's I believe that was the 6th. If it wasn't the 4th, like it should have been, it was probably most likely the 6th. And then 3 days later, this was posted.
All
right. Sorry, Mr. Mate, I want to make sure I get it right here. Episodes 6 and 7. Sorry, you see 1 moment. Okay, I got it. Sorry. Just want to make sure I get it word for word here. Episodes 6 and 7 have been released. We hope that you watched and enjoyed them as much as we did making them for you.
Oh my God.
Now for the giant clown face painted elephant in the room, the long break. Here we go. There's a lot of reasons for our silence. From private personal reasons, extreme cyberbullying, you can imagine what the topic was for that cyberbullying. Legal restrictions, which I think may have been a legit reason, but for some reason they may not have been able to say, to just surviving life. We are a very small team of filmmakers, and quote-unquote stuff happens in all of our lives, so we cannot make apologies for things out of our control. Fortunately, we've grown stronger and are back. This is 2017. We will apologize for something that is completely our fault. No communication. Your support and passion for our channel and our work is beyond measure, and we're sorry for the gap of not talking. As supporters and donators, we'll get to that in a moment, you deserve better. We're sorry. These words might not be enough. Not so much.
Yeah, not really.
And if it's not, then we thank you so very much for your time, support, views, donations, and love. We wish you the best in this journey called Life. Thank you. If you are still with us, we thank you for your grace, forgiveness, in quotes. I would add the quotes, and never-ending support with all of our hearts. And here is where it gets good. We're not done by a long shot. Series 2, Season 2, will finish strong, and in a matter of months, not years,
Okay.
all donations from our original fundraiser campaign did go to the production. This is them covering their legal basis.
Oh, god damn.
All donations from our original fundraiser campaign did go to the production of the series, and
I'm literally like having flashbacks of like Spoonie's Patreon
Mm-hmm.
drama over this.
I'll just wait for it. A small amount of remaining Indiegogo rewards from our original fundraiser campaign will be completed once Series 2 has been completed. So that means people are waiting for stuff. Again, we love you all and thank you for your continued support. We will work to communicate better and work hard to continue creating something special with you. We still have lots of stories to tell and hope you're with us on the ride. Love you all, the Joker Blogs, Andrew DeVary, and Scott McClure.
I'm going to take a wild guess and say that that was literally the last bit of social media they ever posted.
You're almost correct, my friend.
Okay. Oh, God.
That is the last public acknowledgement from the Joker Blogs entity. So, Scott McClure has a YouTube channel. Now, Scott McClure, he posted something during the pandemic. So it took a pandemic to get anything from our star here.
Because what you just read out, that was 2017, right?
It was 2017, right?
Oh, dear fucking Christ. Oh, my God. Okay, I'm sorry, but like, you're going to post something like that. You're going to post something like, oh, okay, like, we're sorry that we kept you all waiting, but life happens and everything. But don't worry, new stuff is coming. And then you just fucking go dark again. Like, oh, my God.
There's some stuff to break down in that, but I want to tell you what the deal is with McClure here. Then I'll
Okay.
break it down a little bit for you there. So, McClure has, he has like a YouTube channel where basically it's where these shorts that were kind of like in, basically shorts that he had been in and stuff were posted. Because Get is like essentially a working actor and stuff. At least that's the assumption. Because again, he's taken so long with this project. So if you look at the IMDb on Scott McClure, you will find a few not even lead parts, bit parts and short films that he's basically participated in, maybe produced, but that, and then the only time he's ever like done anything. Believe me, folks, been watching with a fine tooth, been going over with a fine tooth comb and watching with a magnifying glass for any movement from these guys, when publicly applicable. So, for years, again, since 2017, Bubkiss, nada. Again, you can imagine people are checking back like crazy.
This is just like, it's just PR nightmare, Dragon. It's just like having lived through stuff like everything that went down with Channel Awesome and everything. You just don't do this with your fans, man. You just don't. This is a big no.
Oh yeah. So McClure posted something that one day you and I will talk about, but we're not gonna get to that yet. It's gonna be separate from the Joker blogs, but just tangentially connected. The point being, he did basically kind of a short comedy thing, which was really good for the pandemic, and it was like a very hopeful note. Like I reached out, I commented, I was like, hey, this is wonderful, but look, I know it's gonna be hard to come back, but are you gonna comment what happened with the Joker blogs, or essentially, will it be back? You can imagine,
right? I mean, I feel like at this point they would have been better. Like things would have been better if they just did not make that last. Like, hey, sorry guys, but guess what? It's coming back. You know what I mean? If they really would have just left it, if they would have just left it dead, I think that would have been a little bit more. Like, at least you wouldn't give them the false hope in that situation.
Agreed. So and also poor Steve Maloney. So Steve Maloney. People have been hounding him like crazy, asking about the blogs. He says, "Guys, look, I don't put together the episodes. All right, he's just saying, guys, I wish you have to direct that to them. Okay, I can't really tell you. All I know is we shot stuff and they assembled it. the presumption is, given that we saw those little snippets of
Now I'm
footage,
just realizing. I'm sorry. I'm just now realizing that we're never going to see the context of that one really impressive shot with the set. And oh god.
well, I have speculation for that one, but we'll
Oh, you're breaking my fucking brain with this thing, Dragon. You really are.
oh yeah. So anyway, let's see. So to break a few things down, just in that little social media posting first. Yeah. So again, the fact is, it's always been within our speculation of the episode. The speculation for why the heck they went dark is they said life gets in the way, and I think what happened is I think first and foremost they bit off more than they could chew. When you look back on the events of things, you have to wonder if it's the fact of like, well, I guess I should tell you the biggest slap in the face first.
Okay. Oh god, there's more.
Okay, so Tiki, their fundraising goal for season 2 of the Joker blogs, which probably include further evidence as well, just for the whole Kingdom Blue. Because remember that Christmas video I just showed you, in which they sent
Yes.
DVDs, which I have. That was their fundraising. Essentially, you can donate, and we're going to give you this in return as a reward. And essentially, all the donations go to fund season 2, and that's their way essentially of raising money for the thing without actually selling a Batman-related property. And that's how the Kickstarter things usually go. In this case, Indiegogo. Now, difference between Indiegogo and Kickstarter is Indiegogo, there is no recourse, and people can't really get their money back if something bad happens. Kickstarter, on the other hand, that's the thing. Kickstarter, there's like a safety net, but there's also a time. There's kind of like a little window there. So the point being, Joker blogs needed 25. They claimed they needed $25,000 for the season and further evidence, and seeing with the camera, seeing the production values and the things, it seems like that $25,000 may or may not have been like for the scope in which they were going for. Now, of course, I have told this to our friend who's going to come into the fray soon, not right now, but soon, Chris.R. Notarelli. He scoffed and laughed very hard at the fact that they would need $25,000 for anything.
Yeah, that sounds like him. Yeah.
He did. And again, there's a guy who does.
I mean, just generally speaking, this sounds like the type of situation that he would just absolutely just like eat them alive on if he ever got the chance to chew them out on it.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. So put a pin in Notarelli. We're going to get to him.
Oh god! Oh my god! Okay.
The fact is, $25,000.
Directly involved in the drama?
No, he's not. No, he's not. But there's a silver lining with Notarelli. We're going to get.
Okay.
Because I'm going to make an announcement, but we'll get there. So anyway, so point being, they asked for $25,000, which again, when they announced it, there was no idea how many episodes it would be, and they were going to like up the production values and God knows what else. So the point being, they promised $25,000 for a barrage of episodes, and presumably any carryover will go into a third season or so. That was essentially what the idea was. Like funding the series indefinitely would be $25,000. So little more justifiable in theory. Let me tell you how much they made, Tiki.
Oh, I don't even want to know. Oh,
their
God.
Funding, they received definitely 100% of their funding, but guess how much over they were?
I'm going to say they got to probably 80,000.
Okay, well, let's not go that crazy.
Okay, what?
Okay, so they asked for 25, they got $34,460.
Okay, well, that's still pretty impressive.
It is pretty impressive. It's the fact that, again, they achieved 137% of their goal.
Oh.
So all of that, and you can imagine all the backers and the fans are very displeased after hey, there's already a break of 3 years with no explanation. Then it's like, hey, 2017, and this teaser that we've just discussed comes out hey, for the 10-year mark. This is essentially that post. So I should probably frame it as that posting that I just read out. That was 2017. This teaser technically was 2018. So this was okay, this is we're in the actual anniversary year. This is happening soon. We've shot the 3 episodes. You've seen the little snippets of the 3 episodes. Now here's the question: did they actually shoot the 3 episodes? I would like to hope they did, or is that just them trying to cover their legal basis there of yes, we're currently working on this thing that
right. Or did they literally just go in and film those specific shots for the trailer?
Now, That's again, it's a very interesting question because again, in that thing I read out, it said legal restrictions. Now that is my
Are you thinking that maybe they flew too close to the sun when they got the Dark Knight Rises script?
It's entirely possible because again, they were at they were they got that script. They were invited to Warner Brothers.
Right.
So they were.
Maybe in a way, Warner Brothers like giving them access to their trip to that script was like a trap, maybe. Because it's like, we're going to give you access to the script, but now you're in an NDA, bitch.
So I'm thinking in part that might have delayed them. And
Uh-huh.
the question of like, I think there's probably like some there. I think the reason they went dark for so long is after realizing that happened, and the fact they had all these backers and everything. I think it was this thing of like, okay, we're going to be defunct in our promise, but we can't say why because Warner Brothers. So we're just going to do the response of just we're not going to say anything,
Uh-huh.
which I feel like really killed them ultimately. I think that was like the kiss of death for them, and
Sure.
it's tragic. It's given they had something truly amazing on their hands here. I mean, half the reason I wanted to put up all the great stuff that they did here and just kind of like tout off all the great stuff they did, but also in part the kind of the crusade here was just to kind of like call them out in a respectful manner, like guys, all this is wonderful. We desperately want an ending, as many people did, many people who put funding into this show. And it's just a crying shame that that it is not come to fruition. And I guess what remains just to speculate what we would have liked to have seen, Tiki,
Mhm.
in those 3 episodes that were foretold. Now, one thing I can speculate on based on the footage that we do get, assuming it was actually a filmed full episode, the Joker that money shot of Joker walking through the hallway with that great production value of like the insides of Arkham Asylum and everything. That shot does technically link up to the very first shot of Fall of the House of Arkham, the first episode of
Oh,
season
really?
2. Remember, we open out of con. We open not out of con. We open with a flash forward, like a kind of like a little disparate kind of moment there.
Sort of like Breaking Bad style.
Yeah, because remember, it's the
Uh-huh.
Joker doing the found footage thing with the crappy camera. He's wearing full makeup and he is going down that same hallway as the lights are going off and everything. And the Joker
Remember
says,
that? Yeah, yeah.
"Yeah." The Joker says he's making a video, presumably for Batman, saying, "I'm trying to get. Let me get the try to get the wording here." He's holding the camera, saying, he's essentially that he's there for Harleen. Like I didn't like the way we left things, so he's going there, but he has a plan B, and plan B stands for boom. So the other thing too is that he said, "I'm sure Gordon will get this to you in time." Now, having seen the show, it now occurs to me like that could be Barbara Senior, not Jim Gordon. I'm sure, like presumably, like Barbara Gordon is allowed to leave the asylum to deliver this message to somebody. My point being the whole Plan B thing, the plan implying that there's a bomb and there's a plan to blow up Arkham. I think that's kind of like where we might have been leading to here, because if they had read the Dark Knight Rises script and we don't see Arkham in that movie, I have a suspicion that one of the ways this series could have ended is we would have actually like blown up Arkham Asylum and gotten rid of it.
Right, right.
So that's one kind of theory of thought that that I had. I think that's basically the plan is like I'm going to either break I think the plan is like I'm either going to break Harleen's psyche and make sure she turns into Harley Quinn, or blow up Arkham trying.
I mean, honestly, I kind of assume that both of the things would probably happen in
Yeah,
conjunction
ultimately,
with each
yeah,
other.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now the other hanging chad is what the heck to do with Two-Face, Tiki? What do you think?
Oh, I forgot about fucking Two-Face. Jesus Christ. Oh
Yes,
my god.
we revealed in this show that Two-Face, the very he did not die at the end of the Dark Knight, but maybe.
There's so many loose threads now. Oh god, it bothers my OCD. Oh my god.
Welcome to the you've become Tiki. You've been baptized into the fandom. The frustration, the speculation, the loose
There's so
threads.
many loose threads. Jesus Christ.
Enough loose threads to knit a sweater.
I mean, remind me, like we didn't really get a full resolution on the Phantasm stuff either, right? We were like mid fight the last time we saw that.
Well, the way the Phantasm thing worked is Batman interjected. He knocked out Rupert Thorne before the Phantasm could kill Rupert Thorne. And we do. Yeah, you're right. We don't know who's under that mask, but presumably
Right,
it is Carl
right, yeah.
Beaumont. Presumably
Uh-huh.
it's Carl Beaumont. Andrea knows that's Bruce under that mask, and tells him to essentially that she's under the belief too that is her father under that mask.
Oh man.
So yes, the Phantasm's still running loose, but Batman has a bigger fish to fry right now because he's got to save Barbara Gordon Sr.
Sure, sure.
So let's see. So Two Face, I think the big question is: do we kill Two Face, or do we have like a failed escape that's going to leave him in Arkham? Like, do you think he dies in an ambiguous Arkham bombing?
I That's probably the easiest way to do that is just like, hey, the building explodes, Two Faces in the building. We don't need to see the body. We don't need to bring the actor back with the makeup.
Like, if that did happen, would you like the implication that even post Dark Knight Rises, Two Face could return?
I mean, I honestly think the plot thread. I think I've mentioned this before, but like the plot thread of the Dark Knight Rises, where like Gordon is like feeling super guilty about the cover up. Yeah, I think that would have been even more potent if him being alive would have been part of that equation. So,
Yeah. So let's see. So I think ultimately, when I just speculate how the heck this season would have ended, or where you end the Joker blog story, it feels to me because again, see that's the thing. It is very much Icarus flying too close. Because season one does end it rather perfectly, to
mhm, mhm.
season two. And going forward, though, I think just going on the path that we saw laid out this season, with particularly with the Joker
Honestly,
arc.
even drifting away from the found footage, because really, like, I mean, I've even said it, like, don't get me wrong, the more cinematic stuff is great. It's definitely compelling, but I really feel like the identity of this series goes back to found footage every time.
Yeah, yeah. I think I imagine that Joker is destroying, Harleen and Dr. Arkham's life. That's essentially the premise of both seasons. If you look at the through line there, he's destroying the lives of these two people, and the fact that
Mhm.
these two people tried to, in quotes, fix him, and in return, he fixed them in his warped way. So that feels like that's ultimately the resolution we would have to have in these three episodes. Because remember where we left off on seven, he shot Lisa Arkham's exposed heart with the gun.
Right,
I
right.
don't think there's any repairing that. I'm pretty sure she's a goner, and I think Doctor
Yeah,
Arkham's
no, I mean, but you're right though. I mean, the whole thing with like, would Arkham eventually become like even more than the Joker? Like that seemed to kind of be the trajectory we were going down. But I guess we'll never fucking know.
Yep. I I would speculate that the end ultimately with the Doctor Arkham story is one of two things. Again, there was going to be a showdown between him and the Joker. You know that was coming because again, it was like the battle for the asylum, and it feels like Joker's go to would be to he would be to given that he blew up his wife would be he'd probably try to blow up the asylum.
Uh huh.
But it feels like Doctor Arkham either would be committed because in the comics he Doctor Arkham at least for one iteration he became black. He went insane and became Black Mass. So Doctor Arkham became a criminal and he became committed to his own asylum. So if he lives and Arkham did not blow up, that probably would have happened to him. Alternatively, though, again, if Arkham just given the first episode of season two is called Fall of the House of Arkham, maybe that was like a foreshadow of writing on the wall that yeah, Arkham is going to fall tremendously. And even though we're like suggesting that Arkham might, in a diluted way, buy his asylum back from Lex, like he essentially did like two episodes ago, I don't know. Maybe it was like all for nothing sort of thing. Maybe he does that and he just kind of he blows up his legacy and his whole family, and the Joker kind of facilitated this man's fall from grace to madness.
Uh huh.
Yeah. And Harleen, either again, if Arkham survived, I mean, if the asylum did not blow up, then presumably Harleen would either be in charge of Arkham as like the new person running it, but with the screw loose, despite like the smile and everything, and probably end with her breaking the Joker out. It's kind of my presumption there. But yeah, I mean, there's one other thing to consider too, because this was always like after the Dark Knight Rises came out, a lot of people someone did like this really cool piece of fan art, like basically a series of comics of like checking in on where the status quo would be after we have like a new Batman and after Bruce Wayne is kind of left, and basically a lot of the Batman Beyond stuff came into the fray, like Joseph Gordon-Levitt becoming as John Robin Blake. Anyway, a lot of speculation there. So presumably there is the question of Dark Knight Rises: where the heck is the Joker? Clearly, we didn't have Heath Ledger, and obviously this show was this show definitely filled in some blanks, but we still have a big space of, especially with this right now, where the heck do we end things out on?
You know what? It's almost kind of like cosmic that it's like we never did ultimately get any resolution on Heath Ledger's Joker, either in the actual Nolan canon or in this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very it's tragic, isn't it? Ultimately,
it's really. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I did have a lot of fun going through this series. Ultimately, I do think this series was a little niche for us to cover episode by episode, just from the, if I'm looking at it from like the analytics of the actual fucking dreaded algorithm. But this was a really good kind of like worthwhile twist to, to kind of build up to. So I approve.
Yeah, so let me. Here's the thing I want to throw out there, though. So some people speculate that Joker might have been like housed. What if Bruce Wayne bought Arkham Asylum, but only kept? Because think about it. When we go into Dark Knight Rises, Blackgate is still in use, and Blackgate's overcrowded with criminals. So because of the Dent Act, what if the remaining crazies were put there, but the Joker was purely kept in Arkham Asylum? So in that way, he gets what he wants. He wants to be in Arkham, but he's the only person there.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of an out there idea, but it's just kind of like it's like it would be an explanation of like what if Arkham was like a rundown empty facility that is only housed to one inmate because he's that bad,
Right,
lock and
right.
key by Bruce Wayne himself. So like basically, if Gotham were to enter,
Well, I do like that idea of Bruce Wayne basically like personally buying out the prison just for the sake of the Joker.
yeah,
Yeah.
because think about it. If you look at Dark Knight Rise, just like taking what we have, if you think about it, like what is the only way Bruce Wayne could ever sleep at night with with knowing that okay, I've hung up the cape and cowl, but I need to make sure the Joker does not escape. Or okay, I'm gonna make sure that he stays in like the most locked down Arkham possible, which is like there's no room to escape, no one from the talk to, no one from the play with, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like him, Batman saying you're alone would actually be like actualize that you are alone. I'm making sure there's nothing for you, like no audience for the comedian, so to speak.
Sure, sure.
So I'm just saying, like, assuming if you don't blow up Arkham, I think that would probably be the way to go about that, potentially.
Yeah, I can see that.
I do think Batman would have had a confrontation with Harvey Dent that would have resulted in. I think Harvey Dent, because remember Harvey Dent wanted to leave Arkham. That's when he was flipping that coin. Arkham said, "You got to do one more thing for me, and then you can go."
Sure.
Of course, we didn't know what that one thing was, sadly, but
God.
yeah,
Jesus.
a lot of loose threads, kids. A lot of loose threads. Yeah. Let's see, Tiki. Do we have any comments that we should address here?
Yeah, we'll go through some more of Richard's victims' comments. Let's see. He says, hold on. Says, going dark is one thing, but the fact that people donated to them is where I'm like, no, you can't just do that. If people donated, at least keep them updated. At least acknowledge that it's not coming back for sure. Let's see. He says, Dragon, God damn it, Tiki. Why you gotta say 80,000? Now the actual number won't be as impressive. I don't know. It was just a guess. We also have CM Movie Studios. I'm sorry, CM Movie Studios. Or I'm sorry, C Movie Studios. Saying crowdfunding has always been a hard process, at least for me.
It's embarrassing. I'm pretty sure I know. I think I know C Movie Studios, but he's changed his name, so I don't know if that's I don't know if that's Kellen O'Rourke or not. I don't know.
Mm.
Been a while. Unfortunately, Kellen has not been around. The name changes have been throwing me off. Richard's victims, those we're talking about.
Sure.
Yeah.
Richard's victims also says Bruce Wayne bought the Arkham Asylum and renames it Joker is a Dork.
God.
The only thing with that is if there's no one there who feeds the Joker, does Bruce Wayne just let him starve? I imagine Bruce Wayne probably like has him set up to like a feeding tube or something, maybe.
Well, that's the thing. It'll be like food drops. It's gonna be like that one episode of The Flash where he has the
Oh
reverse
God!
flash in that glass cell. He's bringing them Big Belly Burger. It'll be fine.
Oh my God!
Well, they did. Let's see. Are there any other loose plot threads you want to speculate on, Tiki, that you desperately want to know about?
Not that I can think of. No, I mean, we got through a bunch of them. I guess maybe the Lex Luthor side of things was heating up, but I feel like he was also kind of like nearing the resolution of his story.
Okay, here's a question. Do you think Lex was on the helicopter? Do you think that was Tommy Elliott and company escaping through the helicopter?
Right. I mean, that's one. Like, I definitely read it as Lex, but we don't know.
I think so.
That's why I was kind of saying that, his storyline might have wrapped up, assuming that was him on the helicopter.
I think the smart money is that's Lex, but here's something to consider though. So I think what happens directly if we were, and then of course probably going to start non-linearly if we did get that next episode, because it's stylistic choice, they kind of tend to do that. But let's just say, for argument's sake, the mythical episode 8 we'll likely never see. I mean, here's the thing. By the way, just with the delays, I mean, there is a very infinitesimal chance, just given how long it's taken them, that if they really are going to like knock people's socks off the way they promised, and just given that we had a really impressive, we had good episodes that took like years, like 3 years to make with 6 and 7. I mean, there's an outside chance that
Dragon, it's going to be like 7 years since 2017 at the end of the year, bro. It's not happening.
I know, right? That's the thing. Tiki, I don't think you're wrong, but it does make you wonder, though, of like, I don't think.
What if they came out in 2027, like, hey, or 2028, and was like, hey, guys, it's the 20th anniversary of The Dark Knight?
Be ridiculous for sure. I mean, can you imagine the position they're in, though? Like on a serious note, just the fact that you do something that gets such acclaim, it gets you like 80,000 like plus viewers, 80,000 plus subscribers, which is like that's essentially what the sub count was, like 83K. You get that many, you get that much attention on you, then you just out of nowhere, you just disappear without a word. Nothing.
I know for a fact that you and I, if we ever got that big, which we're never going to, and frankly, I never want to get that big because I don't want the pressure. Yeah. But we would never, like, we would always be letting people in the know. I can't imagine that we wouldn't.
Yeah, something catastrophic would have to happen.
Right.
Anyway, that's the thing. So I don't have at this point. Yes, you're right. The illusion of hope is gone, but it does make you wonder, though, of like if they shot those episodes or not, or if they're just like filming at like the most glacial pace ever. Like how the heck does that happen? Like it's one thing to like be like again incommunicado, but then to come back and say we're coming back for more, and then to never show up again.
That's the real bad thing. Yeah, again, it would have been better if they would have like been radio silent about it.
Just the fact that there's that teaser out there that just says 3 episodes coming. That's almost like the cruelest thing you could ever do.
Right.
We finished it. It's done after all the clamoring and like, hey, we appreciate the patience and everything, and here you go. And then like just little fascinating. Like you gotta imagine how many times that teaser was rewatched, Tiki. And every time people rewatch the entire series in anticipation for those 3 episodes, they're saying like, well, Suicide Squad's coming. Well, the Joker movie.
Oh my God, dude! Oh God.
It's again and again, like these new permutations keep coming out when like you have a series that is devoted to like, had this thing shown up on time, you would have had it before we get the Jared Leto Joker. Had this thing actually come out on schedule, it would have closed the book properly, and then we get the next guy and the next guy.
Sure.
But sadly not the case.
Oh, well, Jesus Christ, that was a roller coaster, my friend.
Well, ready for the last reveal?
Sure. Does it have something to do with Notarelli?
Yes, yes. So,
Okay.
Tiki, knowing this would most likely be our endpoint, be the bittersweet endpoint to this, I didn't want to leave it off on that note. So, to the end goal was always like put light a fire under the Joker blogs in some sense of it. Not that they'll ever watch this, because again, they've gone off to an island somewhere. Sad as it is to say. The hope was that to light a fire under them and to kind of end things on a happier note. Again, we probably would do it under like more retrospective than like an actual series name here, but Chris.R. Notarelli was in competition with the Joker blogs, famously.
Right,
That,
yeah.
Not to say that he was like following in their shadow or trying to one up them or anything. It was just this odd coincidence where I got to check the years, but purely kind of odd coincidence because again, Heath Ledger Joker obviously was rather big, and then of course people would do their attempts. Notarelli has a fan series that does have it. Has an ending, but has an epilogue. It does have an ending, but there's an epilogue in there. So essentially, he has a fan series that is far more complete and brief. Of basically direct. It's supposed to be the Heath Ledger Joker, but it's Notarelli doing his own thing and playing the title role.
Okay, that's cool.
So I've always had that in my back pocket for the end of this series, hoping, I guess, in some infinitesimal chance we wouldn't have to break it out, but we're going to break it out. And essentially, we're going to measure the two Joker series and basically talk about the good stuff that Notarelli brought to the thing. It's a very different take than we have here. Episode 1 is going to be the closest kind of like comparisons, but then it's going to go on kind of a transformative journey and kind of like where basically any place you wanted the Joker blogs to go, Notarelli kind of went there. So that's what's interesting there. So that's what we're going to do. It's essentially I'm blanking on it's either 5 or 6 total, but I think it's 5. So we're going to go on that journey for Notarelli and kind of at our own pace, but that'll be kind of that'll be essentially the last arc of the of kind of our Joker blogs journey.
Oh
here.
man, okay.
In quotes again, because we're not going to call it the Joker blogs case study per
Sure,
se. But essentially, that will be our wrap up, and again, it'll be kind of like saying like, you know what, Joker blogs, this is how it's done. This is how you do closure. This is how you keep in contact with the fan base. This is how you do it.
Yeah. I mean, Notarelli, man, like, like that dude is, pretty polarizing. But like, one thing I will give him credit for is that he does have a social media game.
Yeah.
Like, he's constantly keeping people updated. So
absolutely, I mean, you can reach out to Notarelli and he will respond.
Right.
You're hounding him crazily about bad stuff, unless you're like a very unreasonable person, I'd assume. Like, or you ask him the same question that he has a patented response. I keep telling him you should put on a T-shirt. You fund it, I'll film it. He really
would make a really good T-shirt. Yeah.
Yep.
It'd be a good catchphrase for Blinky 500 as well.
I mean, it's essentially his catchphrase. It's kind of what he says in answer to that question all the time. And he says, and I'm pretty sure he puts in all the descriptions on those videos. So it's his unofficial catchphrase. Anyway, so Tiki, that's you've reached the end of essentially the main journey here. You've reached the end of the Joker. I'm sure you're feeling dissatisfied, but how are you feeling?
A little bit, yes. Honestly, if I would have known that this was going to happen, I would have like rewatched the last couple episodes just to get them more fresh in my head. It was a fun ride, Dragon, but honestly, I will say that you pulling the rug out from under me like this was kind of like a pretty good long con on your end, my friend. I am impressed.
Yeah, years in the making. and in part the reason we have animated Batcave. So
Richard's Victims is asking what's the other Joker series called.
Basically, there are a bunch of different subtitles, but essentially they're called it's part of the Mr. J series. So it's like it's Call Me Mr. J, Sincerely Mr. J, and whatever you say, Mr.
You think if you just typed in Blinky 500 Joker on YouTube, they'd come up?
Yeah, Blinky 500 Joker, or he did an extra Joker film that is not in the continuity of those. Basically, there's one non-Heath Ledger Joker fan film that he did. But essentially, the Mr. J series is the one that we're going to be talking about.
I could see him doing a really good, like, scary Cesar Romero Joker.
Oh, he could, most sure.
He totally could.
He basically did kind of like I guess you'd call it a Quentin Tarantino Joker, is the one that's not the Heath Ledger Joker that he did. That's also pretty good, too. But, yeah.
All right. Well, big thanks to Richard's Victims and CM. I'm sorry, God, that name.
CM
C Movie Studios. for joining us in the comments. It's been a wild ride for sure. Okay, Dragon, I did get your chat thing here. So, well, our time's up, and it's time to reseal the further evidence for seemingly the last time. But the case remains unsolved and may require further study elsewhere.
That's all, folks.
Like